Yo, what's popping at the final day of this week of APAC, the first week. So if anyone asks, hey, what happened in APAC today, send this video over. It should be a quick little overview, a recap even, of the two matches today. So first up, we have the LA Valiant against the Guangzhou Charge. A 3-2 win for Guangzhou, not what I expected. I was expecting just a Valiant roll because the Charge looked really bad against Shanghai. They looked like they didn't know what was going on, they didn't know where they were. But today, that wasn't the case. So Valiant playing Ezhan, or Izihan, Becky, Dia, Lengza, and Sasin. Charge playing Jimmy, Choi Se-won, Krong, Zernius, and Farway. No surprises there, no substitutions later either. So Ilios is a 2-1 for Valiant. First, it's a 100-0 for Charge. Then it's a 100-99 for Valiant, and then it's a 100-0 for Valiant. So they just kind of turned that around, turned it on its head. But Charge wasn't, like, they came out strong, and it looked like Valiant weren't really prepared for what was going to happen. But Zernius only used like one beat, maybe. He got one canceled, things like that. It was just not great from Zernius. And Dia was doing work on the Junker Quinn again. And I believe he got the first environmental kill on Ilios well. So as it went on, they just started doing better. Becky was doing some good things. But yeah, it was mostly just a better coordination thing. It wasn't like an individual pop-off performance, I think. I would say that Lengza outperformed Zernius because Zernius had a pretty poor map. Sasim was outperforming Farway. And Dia was outperforming Krong. I wouldn't say Ezhan was outperforming Jimmy. I'd say they were maybe even. I think it's Ezhan. It makes more sense than Izihan, but whatever. Midtown, 2-1 for the Charge. So Valiant easily get through A, right? But they have some big troubles on B. And it stems from whenever they were entering B, first fight, the backline moves as a unit and goes under the bridge to kite away from I believe it was a Blade or a Sojourn Overclock or something. And the rest of the team just kite back around the corner. So now they're completely split. The Charge collapsed on the supports. And this leads to Valiant spawn camping. Or getting spawn camped. So the spawn camp doesn't last too long. But it's still like forces ults to be used against as for Valiant to come out and things like that. So well, it was like 2 ults, but Charge still used 1, so it was, you know, and it's good time. So they get out of the spawn camp, but now Charge have 3 ults, Valiant have 3 ults. Everyone uses all those ults, and then nothing happens. No deaths, no anything. That's just how this meta is. But now, Charge gets some ults back, and I think there's an overclock or something, and Valiant decide to wait it out, and they don't go in. But now we're getting down to the wire, so they are forced to run onto the point, kind of disregard their positioning to do it, and they lose. So it was like, you kite back to make sure that you aren't walking into an ultimate, but you kind of take a disadvantageous fight because you're not, you know, in a good position to fight. But yeah, I don't know. And then they get stopped at the end of C, or B rather. Holy shit, they get stopped at the end of B. So Charge have a pretty easy A as well, and then Valiant gives them a pretty easy B because they decide to try and recontest through the small little choke on the point instead of through main, and then Choi Se-won just gets a free blade, kills like 3, and they kind of steams roll from there, and then Charge end up making their map win out of it. And I can't tell if Choi Se-won is playing better than he was yesterday, or if he's just not playing versus Who Are You. I think it's probably a bit of both, because Who Are You is like a different beast, so he made Choi Se-won look like a little baby. But at the same time, I think Choi Se-won maybe is doing a little bit more, but it's hard to tell. It's a pretty damn close series so far. Now, Dorado's a 3-1 for the Charge, and this is because Jimmy just fucking took this map, fucking ripped it out of their hands, bro. Jimmy was the GOAT. So Charge do a quick little TP play. I'd like to highlight here. They took the TP to the high ground and flip the map on Valiant on their offense, which gives them the first point after a bit of snowball. And on B, Valiant gave them like until the bridge. They were just chilling on the high ground. They didn't really fight anything. I guess they're waiting for a Izihan kind of kill, right? But he doesn't get one because Jimmy is better. So Jimmy gets some. They end up dropping, and it looks pretty good. For a while, they hold them on that bridge thing So the free push, I guess you can say, well, they give a lot of free push, but they also held there for a while, so it's kind of a give and take there. I don't think the free push is entirely worth it, but maybe. And it was looking like a B hold for Valiant in the end. But then, you know, Choice A1 and Jimmy, they pop off, manage to get the kills they need, and they head into C, and they complete the map off of it, basically. And just because Jimmy, way differing EasyHon, for sure. And the Charge have a pretty damn good A-hold with Choice A1 on the rooftops, and Jimmy being Jimmy still. And they hold at the same place as Valid on B point after a long A-hold. But they are able to hold on because, again, Jimmy and Choice A1. So now it's kind of nice because last stage it was always Choice A1 doing it all himself. Sometimes Develop would be there, but not really. Now Jimmy's actually with him and actually outperforming Choice A1 on maps. Because this is a Jimmy map for sure. This is Jimmy's series. It was Jimmy's world. It's Jimmy's world and we're all living in it, really. Coliseum next is a 95-50 for Val. And this was a very close map. It was like 50-45 or like 48 or whatever for a long time, for 7 minutes or so. But then Becky, he comes alive. He's on the Genji. He's going crazy on him. And it just extends Valiant's lead by almost double what it was. And Krong was hitting some big rampages, but whenever he hits them, he's going way out of the way. His team can't follow up on them. He's dying. And I still question Krong's Junker Queen efficiency right now, or proficiency rather. It doesn't feel like it's fully there, but it's even more impressive that Charge were able to win while he was kind of not performing as well as Dia. But Dia wasn't having that great of a game either. Dia was still hitting his knives and things like that, but it wasn't getting the same value as it was even last match. So interesting to see there. But I don't know. It's Coliseum, not too much to say. Back and forth until it's just not. Because Chet out Becky. But then Nepal is a roll. It is a roll. Because Charge just 100-0, 100-0. It's over. They're looking way better. There was no ults until 90% on Shrine, right? No ults used. But Charge get them first because they just won 3 neutral fights, right? So they have their ults first. They use those ults and they secure the win. And I want to point out that EasyHon is on the Ashe and I don't like it here. He's not really looking better on it ever than his Sojourn. His Sojourn looks way better than his Ashe. He wasn't playing Ashe last stage. It was Dia coming in for the Ashe because EasyHon didn't have a good one or whatever. And I'm quite disappointed in it. And now, anyway, moving on to Village, we got Choice A1 on PHARAH. And it was doing huge work. They say, oh, just go Ashe and counter the PHARAH. It's not that easy. Ashe doesn't just remove PHARAH. And it's just a wash. They keep trying to walk through main. Choice A1 keeps getting big value. If they walk somewhere else, they get barrage. Choice A1 goes to Genji for the last fight. It doesn't really matter because he traded, so who cares? They needed a Becky Echo, or if they really needed to, they had to go to Diva if they had to deal with this PHARAH, but they needed to do something. The Echo probably would have been enough. They needed to actually do something to the PHARAH instead of the plat take of, oh, they have PHARAH go hit scan. Like, that's basically what happened. And it makes no sense. So yeah, Chargers get their ults because they've just won the last 3 fights in a row, so they're going to have more. And they win the final fight and secure their victory 200-0 on Nepal. I love seeing that PHARAH gameplay, and we're going to see more in the next match. So first, player of the match is going to go to Jimmy. Consistently outperformed EasyHon. Led to the Charge victory on a Dorado win. And especially when EasyHon was on the Ashe, I thought Jimmy was much better. But overall, EasyHon was at best even against Jimmy. Jimmy was always better. In the maps where Charge won, Jimmy was better, for sure. So very nice to see Jimmy doing things. And I want to talk about that. I think that the Charge are really looking like bouncing back here. I had no hope for them, if I'm being honest. I predicted a 3-0 for Valiant. I had no hope. I thought the backline looked lost. I thought Krong looked horrible on the Junker Queen. I still think he's not great. But Choice A1, able to be have a bit more value whenever he's not playing against 2RU, I think, is a pretty big part. And Jimmy able to have a dual threat there when they need to. I hope they lean into that PHARAH strat a bit more and hope that maybe they can break past teams even if they try to counter it with the Echo. Because I think this team kind of needs to do something like that to win. You're not going to, like, against a better team than Valiant, because Valiant are probably their closest competition, right? The next one's up. Against a better team, like, I don't know, let's, like, oh, the Fusion don't look too good right now either, but Let's say Spark get better. Against a team like Spark, if they want a chance to win, they're gonna have to whip out some stuff like that. I don't think they're gonna win in the raw mirror. We'll see. So going on to the next match, we have the Chengdu Hunters against the Philadelphia Fusion. It's a 3-0 for Chengdu. Just straight 3-0. So Hunters playing Jinmu, Leaf, Gaga, Monk, Nisha. No surprise there. Daisy's not coming in. Philly playing Carpe, Zest, Fury, AimGod, and Fixa. And Carpe gets subbed out on the very last map. But I don't know. I'm not sure why Carpe's in all the time, I'm being honest. So Busan's a 2-1 for Chengdu. So first up, 100-0 for Philly on Mecha Base. It is just a complete roll. Chengdu had 3 kills, and it just did not look competitive. And I was like, wrap it up. It's over. Because I predicted this as a 3-1 for Fusion. Because I thought they were, they looked pretty good. And Hunters looked lost. But I guess that's what happened when you play the Soul Dynasty. So anyway, Mecha Base, roll. We go to downtown. Jinmu goes to PHARAH. Instant 50% for Chengdu. And then Zest goes over to the Echo. And you know what? Zest did counter Jinmu. He kills him every single fight early. But he doesn't do anything else because Leave is on the Sojourn and he is rolling. He is constantly... Zest dies. He's killing Carpe. Carpe may as well not be in this lobby. Make it a 4v5 so he doesn't give the ult charge. Because Leave is just rolling him. And then on Sanctuary, it's the same thing. He goes Widowmaker. He dominates the whole lobby. Slows the whole game down. Controls it. It is his game. He is owning the lobby. He owns the Philadelphia frauds. And it's just crazy. Philly was making poor mistakes too. It's not just that Leaf was... Oh, maybe Leaf's getting in their head. Getting in their little funny microchips and stuff. Because Fury is dying alone. He's going off and dying to Gaga alone for 0 reason. Zest is committing Blade after he dies. Carpe goes over to the Widow to take the duel. He's not living. He's not hitting shots. AimGod is dead on cooldown. And Fixa, I don't even think he got a beat, bro. I don't know. It was absolute Chengdu domination after the first map. The first map, they were chilling. They were just not even looking at their screen. It comes in and just not even close. And I don't know if this tilted Fusion. I don't know what the hell happened, but they did not look good for the rest of this series. Midtown's a 2-1 for Chengdu. I feel they have a pretty good A-hold, I will be honest. But then Jinmu says, nah, I'm going to hit the Genji moment, and he just goes crazy. And then they get to the end of C, they don't fully cap C. And I guess it wasn't, I guess Philly had some more stuff in there. There's some spawn holds, shenanigans, things like that. But it was a pretty good push from Chengdu overall, and they looked better. Then you go over to the defense. Jinmu's on the PHARAH. Let's go, boys. Jinmu's on the PHARAH. And this forces us onto the Echo. But again, Leaf is just doing too much. Just too much. It doesn't matter that Jinmu isn't actually winning the duels in the sky. It doesn't matter, because Zest can't really pressure Leaf the same way anymore. And Carpe is not a real person. Like, he's like a easy bot on Lucio kind of thing. Even though he's not, he's on whatever, he's on Sojourn. But it was crazy. Fury still doesn't know how to ult. He went through all of their last match, hitting like 2 ultimates in 5 maps. He comes back here, still doesn't know what's going on. He needs some car Q tips or something to figure out how to use this ultimate, because he has no clue. And Philly are chasing kills at poor times. This is the key thing. Because Chengdu were being far too patient at one point. They had 5 ultimates. They were sitting on the high ground on B. They were looking to push the cart into the end of B to get to C, right? And they had 5 ults, and they were just waiting. I don't know if they were waiting for a pick. I don't know if they were waiting for cooldowns. I think they were waiting for a shout cooldown maybe or something, because their original engage attempt got stuffed out. But anyway, so they're sitting there. They get a pick, and Philly just kind of sit there. They're chilling. They don't really go aggressive, but then they decide to go aggressive, but it's too late now because you've inted, because Chengdu's already tried to leave. So I don't know if that's like indecisiveness or if they saw something that maybe they thought they could capitalize on, but it was, I'm gonna kind of call it indecision, because it felt like they should have pushed earlier and they just didn't, or they had, I don't know, it was very odd. So that's it for Midtown, basically. I just want to point that out. Just leave. And Philly not quite having it. Then we go over to Junkertown. This is much closer. Edmund 3 does come in for Carpe, but he's not too noticeable either. Yeah, he's a bit better than Carpe. I think he played maybe a little bit better because Carpe was basically non-existent, but MN3 also pretty non-existent, I think. Chengdu kind of trolled their spawn hold because Jinmu ints onto MN3 and then Nisha also ints on the MN3. So right there, even though MN3 doesn't specifically get those kills, he's already done more than Carpe has in the previous 2 maps. So that's shout out to MN3 for that one. But it was still just a Chengdu. Just Chengdu. Aim God was continuing to just die early, getting focused down. I don't think his positioning's really where it needs to be. And Jinmu on the Genji is doing so much work. Of course, Leave is still there. This is basically more of the same. It's a little closer, though. That's why I didn't write too much about this. So anyway, talented player of the match is going to go to Leave. I was considering Jinmu, but the only reason Jinmu PHARAH works so well is because Leave was being that good. If Leave is not hard diffing Carpe or MN3, or just Carpe, because MN3 didn't get to play against the PHARAH, but if Leave's not just making Carpe look invisible, then the PHARAH doesn't work as well. But he was untouchable, really, because Choi Se-won wasn't, or not Choi Se-won, that's not this guy. Zest wasn't touching him, especially when he's on the Echo. He just wasn't really touching him. And then, of course, Carpe or MN3 couldn't hold a candle. So there's just nothing going on to stop Leave from just rolling this lobby. And he did. Leave was making this roster work. And I can't wait to see more Jinmu PHARAH because it's a legitimate niche, I think, that this team can fill, especially... But it's on the back of Leave, right? It has to be. A little more things to touch on about Chengdu. I don't know how good Gaga is at the Junker Queen. Feels better than Fury because his ults feel a little better, but I don't feel like he's getting a whole bunch of impactful value and like changing the turns of fights. I think the backline's solid for Monk and Nisha. I haven't noticed too many times where Monk would go out of the way and like go die and things like that. So I think the backline's solid enough. I don't notice too many groundbreaking plays either, though, which is okay, I think. I'd rather have your backline kind of not be too noticeable. But yeah, so now we're going to talk about Philly, though. They need to choose if they want to run MN3 or Carpe, I think. I don't like them bringing in MN3 sometimes, or Carpe sometimes. They have basically the same hero pool. You can say, oh, well, MN3 is better at the Ashe or whatever, but I don't care. Like, just pick the guy you're going to play. Just pick him. Carpe can play Ashe. If you're going to put him on Sojourn, he can play the Ashe. I think you put in MN3 because he has a higher potential. He should be better. Carpe certainly wasn't good. So I don't know. I think pick MN3. I'm starting to think that he looked... Okay, hear me out here. Kickoff Clash, he looked okay. He looked good. He had some highs, but largely inconsistent from MN3. Carpe came in. He had some troll moments. MN3 probably looked a bit better, but they were mostly even. Midseason Madness, Carpe gets no playtime, and MN3 goes crazy. It was MN3's best stage. He was looking consistent. He was looking great. He had the best Ashe performance we've ever seen in Overwatch history, and now he's back to being relegated to a sub to Carpe, basically. I think maybe you just give MN3 all the scrim time, because he has the higher potential. And the potential you're getting from Carpe isn't as high, I think, this season. He hasn't really shown it as well. So, I don't know. I like them just pick one. I don't like flip-flopping them as much. I don't see the reason. Maybe for Widow or something, but then that's like, what are you saying? Carpe can't play Widow? If you can't play Widow, how do you feel about it? So, I don't know. I think just play him in 3. Probably won't, though. So, final point. Aimgod's dying too much. I've already said it before. His positioning and his decision-making have been a problem for this whole season, right? It's amplified on Brigitte on this meta because he doesn't have mechanics to hold him out. He doesn't have big Ana nades or things like that to kind of bail him out and still get value and die. Whenever Brig dies, her value is lost. You can say, oh, you hit a good whip shot. No, not really. Your Inspire is what you're here for. Your armor pack is what you're here for. He didn't have it. They need to work on that to be a good team again. Or you can just say, okay, MN3 Zest, Carpe, go carry. I guess you can do that too if you want, but it hasn't been happening so far. Anyway, like this video if you like it. Subscribe for more daily Overwatch content. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourself a good one. Deuces.